Bush, and we are the student directors. Everyone has put into so much work into this this play, and we are so excited to show this to you. We would like to remind you that the chairs are squeaky if you're in the rows, and not the additions. But they are really squeaky, so please try to get comfortable and not move around as much. We would also like to remind you that we are recording, so be aware of that. So try not to get in the way of that, I guess. And turn off your cell phones. Please and thank you. All right. Welcome to Wonderland. Welcome to Wonderland.
Oh my goodness, the Duchess. Oh, whatever shall I do? I am oh so very late. Something has fallen into the rabbit hole. It sounds like a little girl.
Down, down, down. I wonder I'm falling to.
It talks. It is a little girl.
After such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of falling downstairs. I shouldn't say a word, not even if I fell off the top of a house.
Which is very likely true.
Oh, how dark it looks ahead.
Oh, she's coming to the edge. Oh, what if she should break to bits when she falls off?
Ah, here I go.
Oh, I can't look. Little girls can't leap like rabbits. Oh.
Is this the end?
The question is there any such a thing?
Of course there is. Everything comes to an end sometime.
It could be a beginning, you know.
Beginning of what?
How am I to know until I know more about you? The fall didn't hurt you at all.
That it didn't. And it's very curious because it lasted a very long time.
That's because you belong here.
Where am I?
Well, that entirely depends on what's going on inside of you.
I wish you wouldn't talk such nonsense.
And I wish you'd mind your manners.
I didn't mean to be rude. All I asked was, where am I?
And I told you, you're where you're supposed to be. And that entirely depends on what's going on inside of you.
I really don't know what you mean.
How do you suppose you got down in the rabbit hole in the first place?
I fell. I was sitting by my sister on a riverbank, and I saw you were by. You were talking to yourself, and then you took a watch out of your pocket, and that made me so curious. When you ran down the rabbit hole, I just ran down right after you.
And you entirely forgot that little girls don't belong in rabbit holes.
Oh, yes. I just felt inside me that I had to see what you were doing.
And yes, and here you are, and you haven't given a second of thought as to how you're getting back out again.
Oh, dear. I think I'll just go back to where I came from.
Oh, it's one thing to think it and another to do it.
Oh, please, Rabbit, I want to see the sky. I want to see my kitten. Isn't there any way out of here?
Oh, dozens of ways. There's a way for me and a way for you, and one for Johnny and one for Sue. But you can't go back and you must walk alone, for every Jack has a way of his own. Now your way is there, through the garden where the trial is held.
How am I to get there?
You can't.
Well, first you say I must go through it, and then you say I can't.
Didn't say that. I said you can't go to it.
Well, then how am I to go through it? Answer that.
When you belong in the garden, the trial will come to you.
I never saw a garden move.
You have never seen much, and that's a fact, and you have made me late.
Where are you going? Oh, wait,
None
Rabbit.
of your business, and don't follow me.
Wait, Rabbit. Wait. Slow down.
Oh, rumpus. Can I never find a place for a quiet smoke?
Rabbit.
Goodness.
Someone's calling you. Can't you make her keep still? It puts me out.
Oh, you talk to her, won't you?
What about?
About her garden. Tell her it will never come to her until she learns to keep her temper.
You? Such a temper. It makes me feel contrary. Why don't you tell her yourself?
I can't. I'm late. I'm to speak a piece at the Duchess's party this afternoon. I'm speaking How doth the little. How doth the little bee improve each shining hour by gathering honey all the day from every fragrant flower. Beautiful, isn't it?
If you like it, it makes me feel contrary.
Rabbit.
You tell her about her temper.
I will if she makes me feel friendly. If she makes me feel contrary, I'll be contrary. I won't tell her a single thing.
Oh, it's too bad for her. That it is. Oh!
Who are you?
I hardly know, sir. At least I know who I was when I got up this morning, but I think I must have turned into somebody else.
What do you mean? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, sir, because I'm not myself, you see?
I don't see.
Well, a little while ago I was just Alice, but then I was the size of a rabbit, and now I'm the size of a mushroom. Being so so many sizes in a day is confusing.
It isn't.
Well, you might not find it so yet, but one day you'll turn into a chrysalis, and then a butterfly. You'll feel a little queer then, won't you?
Not a bit.
Well, it feels queer to me, as if I were somebody stupid.
Well, you are.
That I am not! I am the head of my class. At least I was. I'll try if I know the things I used to. 4 times 5 is 12.
Wrong.
Try geography. London is the capital of Paris. That's not quite right.
Try some poetry.
I'll recite how doth the little. How doth the little crocodile improve his shining tail, and pour the waters of the Nile on every fragrant scale. Some of the words have gotten altered.
It's wrong from beginning to end.
You see, sir, I have changed a great deal.
You haven't.
Oh, it's no use talking to you. I want to find the garden where the trial is held. The things you say are of no use to me at all.
They are.
You make such very short and rude remarks.
I don't.
If you're going to contradict every single thing I say,
I'm not.
oh, that's what you've been doing this entire time. You can't deny that.
I can. Come back. I've something important to say. Here. Closer. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No.
What else?
Saying it is one thing and doing it another.
Keeping my temper, you mean? You see, I'm usually very polite, but things have just been so queer around here. What shall I do next?
Ask the cat. Knock on his door.
There isn't any door.
There is.
Oh, that was very civil of him. Who do you suppose that might be?
Ooh, something?
Well, no, I was just wondering.
Wondering where?
Why, you're a cat.
A Cheshire Cat.
Oh, please, don't go.
Very well.
Thank you, but I was just wondering which way I ought to go.
Well, that depends on where and when you want to get to.
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter so long as I end
So then it doesn't matter which way you go. Oh, by the way, if you really wanted to know, he went that way.
Who did?
The White
He
Rabbit.
did?
He did what?
Went that way.
What did?
The white rabbit.
What rabbit?
Well, you just said, and then you went like this, and...
Can you play cards?
Well, I...
Anyways, if you really wanted to know, ask the Duchess. 'Twas big news.
That must be the Duchess's house. Now, I'll keep my temper. No matter what happens, I'll keep my temper.
There's no sort of use in knocking. I'm on the same side of the door as you are.
Then how am I to get in?
Are you taking it at all? That's the first question.
Well, I'd like to ask the Duchess the way to the garden.
Well, they're making such a noise in there, nobody can hear you.
Well, then, what am I to do?
Anything you like?
Well, it's no use talking to you. I'll just put in myself, that I will. There's certainly too much pepper in that soup.
Is it too much or too little? Taste it. Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases. Be quiet!
Hey, please, you shouldn't call the baby names.
If everyone minded his own business, the world would go round a lot faster than it does. I speak severely to my boy. I beat him when he sneezes, for he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he pleases.
Please mind what you're doing.
Here, you can nurse it if you like. I've got to get ready to play croquet with the queen in her garden. Bring in the soup. The house will be going any minute. Bring in the soup! Well, you heard her. Hop along, tidy this up, and catch us. I don't hate. Come on, I can't do anything myself.
She said, in the garden. Would you please tell me?
There's no sort of use in asking me. I'm not in the mood to talk about gardens.
Well, what sort of people live around here?
To the left lives a hatter, to the right lives a march hare. Visit either you like. They're both mad.
I don't want to go among mad people.
You can't help it. We're all mad here. Give me that
shouldn't call the baby pig.
That's all you know.
Which shall I visit, I wonder? I hope they're not quite raving mad.
You the place? It is clean. Not a single crumb.
Oh, come on, help me with the table!
Now, I'm going to be polite this time, no matter what they say. Because, of course, the rabbit was talking nonsense. The garden couldn't come to me.
Did you tell the dormouse to bring in the chair?
I couldn't find him.
Oh, you was asleep. I put him in a teapot.
Then we'll have to carry him, teapot and all, or push him.
Well, be quick or the tea will get cold.
Well, you'll have to help me with him.
If you please, would you mind telling me?
No room!
There's plenty of room.
How about you have some candy?
I don't see any.
There isn't any.
Well, then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
Was it very civil of you to sit down here without being invited?
If you please, would you mind telling me?
Shall we tell her?
You don't even know what I'm going to ask yet.
It doesn't matter what it is.
What matters is how you behave.
Ask her a riddle.
What is a raven? Like a writing desk.
I think I can guess that one.
Do you mean you think you can find out the answer to it?
Exactly so.
Then you should say what you mean.
I do, at least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same thing a bit. You might as well just say, I see what I eat is the same as I eat what I see.
You might as well just say I get what I like and the same as I like what I get.
You might as well say I breathe when I sleep is the same as I sleep when I breathe.
Have you guessed the answer yet?
Why is the raven like a writing desk? No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Nor I.
Well, I think you should find something better to do with your time than asking riddles that haven't any answers.
There is nothing to do with my time except have tea. It's always 6 o'clock here.
Is that why so many tea things are set out?
Yes, that's it. It's always tea time. We've not have time to wash things between whiles.
And you keep moving around, I suppose.
Exactly so. I want a clean cup now. All move one place.
Wake up, wake up!
I'll pour some hot tea on her nose.
Oh, it's no use. She won't get up till half after 6.
Well, it's very trying to have a watch always at 6 o'clock.
I told you to put some butter on that.
Oh, please, don't do that.
Why not?
You'll spoil it.
It's the best butter.
Oh, you mustn't.
Have you ever tried it?
No.
Then you shouldn't speak. Hand me the bread knife.
Don't put it in with the bread knife. You're bound to get crumbs in it as well.
Maybe that's just what it needs.
You'll stop your watch.
How can I stop it when it isn't going?
Answer that.
I can't, but...
And hold your tongue.
It was the best butter.
I'll try some hot tea.
It's no use. That clock won't start and she won't get up till half after 6. We'll just have to move her.
This isn't very tidy. It's been used before.
What's good enough for us is good enough for you.
If it was good enough for you, why didn't you just stay here?
The rule is move down 3 places.
Yes, but now that there are 4 of us...
If you can't be civil, you might as well wait until you're invited.
I vote this young lady recites a poem.
Oh, I'm afraid I won't get it quite right.
Recite, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Twinkle,
Pinch
twinkle,
him.
twinkle, 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 twinkle.
Ha! Begin.
Twinkle, twinkle,
Oh, you pinched him. He doesn't mind me. Ha! Now then, recite.
Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. That's not quite right.
There is nothing right about that one.
Oh, pinch my mom's eye. That once.
Oh! You spilled the milk!
Pick it up and what? I can't pick up a mill. You can't do much, and that's a fact.
I would be happy to wipe it up if I had a rag. It's gone onto the ground, too.
round up through the table.
And mind what you think while you do it.
Please, what must I think about?
All kinds of things. Anything that begins with an M.
Mouse traps. Moon. Memory. Muchness.
Why an M?
Why not?
Take some whiskey.
I can't have any more. I haven't any yet.
Ha! You mean you can't take any less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asked your opinion. Or, that is, thank you very much. Of course, it's easy to take more than nothing.
Sit down and do it then.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Ah, put it in the teapot.
If you please, and excuse me, old Dormouse, oh Hatter, oh March Hare, would you be so very kind as to tell me the way to the garden?
Just keep on the way you're going now.
Thank you, old Dormouse, oh Hatter, thank you, oh kind March Hare.
Time.
Keep on going the way I'm going now. But I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying right in one place.
The question is there any such thing?
Of course there is. Every place is one place.
That's where you're wrong. For instance, is this not the place where you lost your temper?
I'm afraid so.
That's one. And is it not the place where you kept it?
I tried to,
That's two. Now, is it not the place where there wasn't any garden?
but I did keep my temper. I was very polite.
That's three. And it's the place where there is a garden. That's four.
What a lovely garden, but I really don't see any place for a trial.
How do you know you don't?
There ought to be jury boxes where a trial is. I don't know exactly what they are, but I've read about them in the paper.
When you belong on the trial, the jury boxes will be right here.
Will they come when I don't know it? Just like the garden?
Yes, but you have to run fast. Very, very fast.
Why must I run if the trial is right here?
Oh, it'll just be one of those times you'll have to run as fast as you can just to keep where you are.
I wish you wouldn't talk such nonsense.
If you're going to begin losing your temper again, I just don't
Wait,
have to
please,
go.
please, I'm very sorry. I can't seem to help it. Oh, the creatures contradict me so. They seem to think I amount to nothing at all.
That is because you're afraid you don't amount to anything. You'll never belong in a trial until you can get over that.
Oh, Rabbit, can you please tell me how I can stop feeling like this?
I could, but it would be no use whatsoever to you.
Why not?
You'll never know until you've done it.
Sounds sort of easy. Just not to let them make me feel like good for nothing.
Exactly.
I'll go and find somebody and try it out. I can hardly wait.
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in that hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup of the evening, beautiful soup, beautiful soup, beautiful soup, soup of the evening. Beautiful, beautiful soup.
What was that?
Now that was mock turtle.
I've never heard of a mock turtle. What is he like?
He's the one they make mock turtle soup of course.
Beautiful soup.
I'm a little afraid. I suppose it's because I don't know him very well.
Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? The thing to be afraid of is getting used to things. Something you've never seen before. It's exciting.
Oh, come that's so. I haven't the least idea of what a mock turtle is, but I won't let him upset me. That I won't. What if I don't amount to much after all?
Of course you don't. No one does.
Don't you?
Of course I do. Everyone does.
It's a little confusing. How am I to amount to much and not amount to much at the same time?
That's what no one knows. But you do.
Well, I suppose I know that I amount to just as much as that mock turtle, because he doesn't sing well at all. I was chosen to sing on the last day of school. It'll be easy not to let him make me feel as if I were good for nothing. I declare he is coming here. I will go by myself and practice. He must begin at once.
That'll never work. The way to not feel good for nothing is to forget all about it. And the way to forget all about it is to remember somebody else. Now, I wonder, will she meet someone that makes her forget all about it? Well, won't make any difference in the taste of carrots.
am the soup, so rich and green, waiting in that hot tureen. I am the dainty for whom they all stew. Soup of the evening, mock turtle soup. Oh no. Oh, the soup.
Sorrow.
He hasn't got any sorrow. It's all his fancy, that is.
What a curious creature.
What curious manners. But I don't suppose you had many lessons in manners.
Manners aren't taught in lessons.
That's all you know about it.
It's the very first lesson we had in school. The master was an old turtle. We called him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise when he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you are very dull.
Well, what else had you to learn beside manners?
The different branches of arithmetic, ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
How many hours a day had you to do lessons?
10 hours the first day, 9 the second, and 8 the next. So on.
What a curious plan.
That's why they're called lessons. Because they lesson from day to day.
Anyone might know that.
Well, what had you to do the 11th day?
We danced the lobster flip.
I've never heard of the lobster flip.
I don't suppose she could dance it with us.
Oh, but I think I could. If you showed me the steps. I took a prize in dancing class a week ago Saturday. Let's begin.
Will
You
walk a little faster, said an urchin to a snail. There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail.
See how eagerly the lobsters
And the turtles all advance.
that are waiting on a shingle.
Won't you come and join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, won't you join the dance? Will you, won't you, will you, won't you join the dance? Come now, it's time for the flee.
Here we go.
What?
Yeah.
Lobster
And
flip.
back, and forth,
Lobster
and back,
flip.
and over, and over, and flee!
No use going on with her. She doesn't know anything at all.
Would not join the dance. Could not join the dance.
You stuck on my toes and got my way back you did. I would learn the lobster flip for anything in the world. Ah!
Did you say wouldn't or couldn't?
I said wouldn't, but I'm afraid I meant couldn't.
I thought so.
No how?
If you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay, you know. And if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
I'm very sorry if I was rude, I'm sure.
I know what you're thinking, but it isn't so. No how. Contrary-wise. If it was so, it might be. And if it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
I was just thinking that I might know who you are. Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
You've begun wrong. The first thing in a visit is to say, how do you do, and shake hands.
Shake.
How do you do and shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do and shake hands? State your name and business.
Me? See, I can dance when it's a sensible dance.
Did you think you couldn't?
Well, things have just been so queer lately. Seems everything I do is wrong.
What sort of things?
Well, poetry.
Do you like poetry?
Some poetry when I know what it means.
That sounds clever.
The trouble is, not everything that sounds clever is clever. No how?
Contrary-wise.
We must find out. Is she stupid, or does she only seem stupid?
We'll try her on a poem. What shall we recite?
Well, the walrus and the carpenter is the longest.
And it has illustrations.
Is it some sort of an examination?
A test to see whether you are clever or stupid.
Oh dear.
Do you like illustrations?
Why yes, the pictures are the best part of the book.
Look,
Look,
together on the seashore, and they got very hungry.
Until they remember the oysters that lived in the sea.
Now comes the first part of the examination.
We'll recite the poem.
If you're clever, you can tell when we come to this scene.
And if you're stupid, you can't.
No how.
Contrary-wise.
Well, begin. Oh, oysters, come walk with us, the walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than 4. Take the hand each.
You haven't come to the picture yet.
No how.
Contrary-wise. Then, 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, you know, they hadn't any feet.
Oh, the shoes are here, but you haven't come to the picture yet because they're more than 4.
No how.
Contrary-wise.
Then 4 other oysters followed them, and yet another 4. And thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more, all hopping through the frothy waves and struggling to the shore.
I think you must be nearly there. I'm going to listen very carefully.
The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, until they rested on a rock, conveniently low. And all the other oysters stood and waited in a row.
Well, what were they waiting for?
No how.
Contrary-wise.
Come, they must have been waiting for something, you know. Don't you feel well? Oh, that's it.
How do you do and shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do and shake hands, state your name and business.
Meep. Oh, please go on to the second part. I can hardly wait.
That was just a little clever, you know. Now we must see if you can repeat a stanza correctly.
If you're clever, you can.
If you're stupid, you can't.
Try and repeat this.
It's the most important part of the whole poem.
The time has come, the walrus said, to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and where the pigs have wings.
Now, repeat it.
Yep, time has come. The walrus said to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings. That's right.
How do you do and shake hands, shake hands, shake hands. How do you do and shake hands, state your name and business.
Woo! Meep, I've never been so happy in my life. I think I'm going to pass.
That was just middling clever, you know. Now we must see if she can make up her mind.
What must I make up my mind about?
Which you like better, the walrus
Or the carpenter.
Oh, come, that ought to be easy.
No how.
Contrary-wise.
Well, tell me what each one of them did. Then I'll know.
You must guess what each one did from what they said.
Well, what did they say?
A loaf of bread, the walrus said, is what we chiefly need. Pepper and vinegar besides are very good indeed. Now if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed.
They wouldn't, they couldn't, they could not be so mean. What were they going to eat?
What do you eat with vinegar and pepper?
Oysters! I hate that walrus. What did the carpenter say?
You'll hear in a minute. She's through the walrus yet.
It was so kind of you to come, and you are. Very nice. The carpenter said nothing, but cut us another slice. I wish you were not quite so deaf. I've had to ask you twice.
And then he ate them too. I hate him also.
But you must do as you know. Listen to the rest.
I weep for you. The walrus said, I deeply sympathize. With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes.
Oh, oysters, said the carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again? But answer came there none. And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every one.
Now, make up your mind.
Which do you like better?
Well, I think I like the walrus better. If he felt at least a little sorry for those poor oysters.
Ah, he ate more than the carpenter. You see, he held his handkerchief in front, so the carpenter can see how many he ate.
That was mean.
It was.
Then I like the carpenter better. If he didn't eat as many as the walrus did.
But he ate as many as he could get,
And he wanted more.
I don't like him at all.
But you must choose, you know, if you're not stupid.
Well, it's a puzzler, and that's a fact. How am I to like either one when I don't like him at all? They're both very unpleasant characters.
I'm afraid she can't make up her mind.
I can't so.
Which do you like better then?
Neither one of them. You can't like anyone when you don't like him at all. I don't like the walrus, and I don't like the carpenter, so I don't like either one of them. It's a foolish question.
She can't make up her mind.
the White Queen and me. So set up the wickets as fast as you can, and sprinkle the players with buttons and bran. Put cats in the coffee and mice in the tea, and welcome our Alice with 30 times 3. O Wonderland creatures, quoth Alice, draw near. 'Tis an honor to see me, a favor to hear. 'Tis a privilege high, a croquet game to see, along with the Red Queen, the White Queen, and me.
You're all very kind, I am sure, but if I am to play with queens,
Speak when you're spoken to.
but if everybody did that, and everybody always spoke when he was spoken to, and everybody always waited for somebody else to start speaking, then nobody would ever say anything at all.
What did you mean by if I'm to play with queens? You can't play with us, you know, until you've passed the proper examination.
What did you mean?
I only said if.
She says she only said if, and she said a great deal more than that.
A great deal more.
I'm sure I didn't mean.
Well, you should have meant. What do you all suppose is the purpose of a child without any meaning?
Even a joke has some meaning, and a child is much more important than a joke.
I hope.
You couldn't deny that if you tried with both hands.
I don't deny things with my hands.
Nobody said you did.
Can you do addition?
Of course I can.
What's 1 and 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 1.
I don't know. I lost count.
She can't do addition.
Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8.
9 from 8. You can't, but
She can't do subtraction.
Try again. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
well, the bone would remain. If I took it, and the dog wouldn't remain, it would come to bite me. And I'm sure I shouldn't remain. I think nothing would remain.
Wrong! The dog's temper would remain.
I don't see.
She doesn't see.
The dog would lose his temper, wouldn't he?
I suppose so.
And if the dog went away, his temper would remain, wouldn't it?
She can't do sums of bits.
I can sew with their proper sums.
Recite, you are old, Father William.
I don't know that one, but I can recite part of the walrus and the
Repeat it after me. You are old, Father William, the young man cried. The hair which has left you is gray. Yet you're strong, Father William, a hearty old man. Now tell me the reason, I pray.
I think I can remember that.
Don't interrupt.
In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I remember that youth would fly fast and abuse not my health and my vigor at first, that I never might need them at last. Now, repeat the whole.
You are old, Father William, the young man said. The hair which is left you is white, yet you incessantly wish to stand on your head. Do you think at your age that is right? Some of the words have gotten altered.
Try the second stanza.
In the days of my youth, Father William replied, I fear it might injure the brain. But now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, I do it again and again.
That is not said right.
It's not quite right, I'm afraid.
It's wrong from beginning to end. Your Majesty. How tall did you say you were?
I am 4 feet and...
Wrong.
She never said a word like that.
I thought you meant how tall are you?
If I'd meant that, I'd have said that. There's glory for you.
There's glory.
I don't see what you mean by glory.
By glory, I mean there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make a word mean so many different things.
The question is which is to be master, you or your words. That's all.
That's all.
Well, I don't believe.
She doesn't believe.
I'll give you something to believe. I'm just 101 years old. 5 months and a day.
I can't believe that. Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes.
It's no use. I can't believe impossible things.
She can't believe. Missed!
This isn't a bit fair.
On with the game!
Alice's third and final stroke. Things are not looking too bright for her.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Missed! 3! Off with a head!
The king will pardon you as soon as she's out of sight. He always does.
What was it you said?
Your Majesty, it was of no consequence. No consequence at all.
Where are the tarts?
Tarts.
She ate my tarts! Off with the head! Off with the head! Executioner!
You summoned me.
Off with the head at once!
No, no, Your Majesty.
Yes, Queen. Slay.
Silence!
Oh, please, it wasn't the name, Your Majesty.
Who are you?
Who are you?
You can't take off her head till she's out of trial.
The heart knows no trials.
So she must have a trial.
Who says so?
I say so. The trial's beginning.
everything you got to keep the clock from going backwards.
How strange.
Oh, it happens every day, only you don't notice it. Oh, they're going to be late. Come help them along.
I think I'd like to stay here and rest a while. Seems like the trial has really come to us. These must be the seats for the judges, and those must be for the jury, although there seem to be a great many of them here. I suppose that's why they talk about them in the paper. Do you think the knave really stole the tarts?
What's your opinion?
Well, I haven't any yet, because I don't know if it was the knave's tarts I saw somebody else eat. It'd be easier to have an opinion if I knew that I was what I was talking about.
That's where you're wrong. Were you ever punished?
Only when I'd done something I shouldn't.
And were you all the better for it?
Yes, but then I had done the thing I was punished for.
And even if you had, you'd be all the better still.
I suppose so. Just the same, I couldn't stand it if the knave got punished for something she might not have done.
When something happens, you stand it, whether you can or not.
Then I won't let it happen. That I won't.
Oh, my whiskers, here they come. You are all late! Off with the head!
You were late yourself, Your Majesty.
We don't mention that.
What are you writing?
I named for fear we'll forget them by the time this trial is over.
Order in the court.
Harold, read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts. She made some tarts all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, she stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Very well. Consider the verdict.
Not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
What?
Well, witnesses.
I suppose. Call the first witness.
The cook.
Were you
in the kitchen when the queen made her tart?
I was.
You saw her make the tart.
I oversaw her, Your Majesty.
Did you see anyone else in the kitchen?
Yes.
Man or woman?
Woman.
Describe her costume.
I can't. I didn't see her.
Then how did you know she was in the kitchen?
It's because she wasn't looking where she was, Your Majesty.
I see. So where was she?
Well, she was hiding behind doors or in flour barrels or under tables or things.
I see. Did you perhaps hear her, smell her, taste her?
I heard her.
What did you hear?
She sneezed.
Try the prisoner with pepper.
Achoo!
There you have it, jurors. The prisoner was in the kitchen. Write it down.
It proves nothing of the sort. You should try the other women too.
Quiet!
It's not fair.
Order in the court.
The cook may stand down.
Shan't.
Off with her head!
I'm on the floor as it is, Your Majesty. I can't go any lower.
Then the cook may stand aside.
Yeah.
Call next the prisoner.
The knave of hearts. Smile in the presence of the king. Smile, not a smirkle, not the semicircle.
Now, that is the proper style. Jurors, listen carefully, for I am about to perform a searching test. Prisoner, do you know how tarts are made?
I can answer that. You take some flour.
Where do you pick the flower? In the garden or the window boxes?
It isn't picked. It's ground.
How many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things.
Flour for tarts isn't measured in acres. It's measured in cups or quarts or barrels. The cook is spelling it all wrong.
It's of no consequence. You see, it's plain to see that the prisoner knows how tarts are made, proving she was in the kitchen watching the queen as her cooking. Jurors, write it down.
It proves nothing of the sort. At least I don't think it does.
You. Who are you?
Suppress the applause!
Oh, that evidence!
Have you fresh evidence?
No. I thought I saw an elephant playing on a fife. I looked again and saw 'twas a letter from my wife. At length I realized, O king, the bitterness of life.
That might just be the most important bit of evidence we've had yet. It practically proves the prisoner's guilt. Jurors, consider it carefully.
It proved nothing. If anyone can explain it, I'll give him a sixpence. I don't believe there's an atom of meaning in it.
Well, then that does save us a world of trouble now, doesn't it? If there's no meaning in it, then we haven't the need to find any.
Well, then you can't hold that evidence against the poor knave.
It is very provoking to be told we can't call a thing evidence we wish to call evidence. I call anything evidence I wish to. Impenetrability. That's what I say.
Impenetrability.
Would you please explain what impenetrability means?
By impenetrability, I meant just now we've had enough of that subject, and it would be just as well if you held your tongue, as I don't suppose you mean to stop here all the rest of your life interfering with this trial.
So, I will keep interfering with this trial so long as it isn't fair. So,
His Majesty must now cross-examine the prisoner.
Well, if I must do so, then I suppose I must do so. Where were you when the tarts were set out to cool?
in the garden.
Interesting, the garden. Did you see anyone else in the garden?
I saw
The cook! No! Nothing of the sort. You ask her if she
show any signs of having eaten tarts recently?
She's eaten a great many.
How could you tell?
She paid me compliments.
I deny that! You haven't forgot the identical spot where you stopped me from singing a ditty.
When you said I was plain and excessively vain, but I knew that you meant I was pretty.
I didn't know I meant that. You're too afraid of being found out to even know what you mean.
I am afraid she has eaten the tarts. I'm afraid she has eaten them all.
His Majesty must now cross-examine the Duchess's ditty.
Indeed I must. All the ditty. The ditty.
The ditty.
Thank you.
There was a pig who sat alone beside a ruined pump. By day and night he made his moan. It would have turned a heart to stone to see him wring his hooves and groan because he could not jump.
Jump!
Up rose that pig and jumped full whack against that ruined pump. He first saw red and then saw black and rolled right over on his back. His snout caved in, his bones went crack. It was a fatal jump.
Jump!
And she spoke of this ditty once you had finished?
At the top of her voice.
Without knowing what she meant? My goodness, this does look very terrible for you now, doesn't it? My goodness, we have evidence!
The Mad Hatter.
I thought I saw a rattlesnake that questioned me in Greek. I looked again and saw it was the middle of next week. The one thing I regret, O king, is that it cannot speak.
The middle of next week.
Next week.
She looks guilty.
She acts guilty.
She is guilty.
We are ready for the verdict.
Oh, so press back on us!
Shall we say it or sing it?
Not yet. Having the verdict, we haven't even had a sensible trial.
Sing it.
I'll tell thee everything I can. There's little to relate. I saw an aged man a-sitting on a gate. Who are you, aged man? I said, and how is it you live? His answer trickled through my head like water through a sieve. And now and there by chance I put my fingers into glue, or madly squeeze a right-hand foot into a left-hand shoe, or if I drop upon my toe, and there wait, I weep, for it reminds me so of that old man I used to know, that summer evening long ago, a-sitting on a gate.
You certainly can't call that a verdict.
I do.
It's just nonsense. You may call it nonsense if you like, but I've heard nonsense comparable to which that would be as sensible as a dictionary.
The question is a dictionary ever sensible?
That is correct. The verdict, are we ready?
I hadn't come to the verdict. That must be with.
The verdict is ready. I'm ready for the verdict. Calm, cool, and collected like a cucumber. My goodness, do you call that a whisper? If you do such a thing again, I'll have you buttered! And you, be quiet, you. According to Rule 52 of this very court, any child who laughs at the king in the court will be removed from the court.
No, that's not an old rule. You made it up just now.
It's the oldest rule in the book.
Then it ought to be number one.
On with the execution.
Not yet. You having the execution. We haven't even called all the witnesses. I have some evidence to give. Oh, no. Where? Oh, that's right. Your Majesty!
There's something that was picked up in the garden. It's a scroll. part about it.
Is it in the prisoner's writing?
It isn't in any handwriting at all, and that's the queerest thing about it.
I do see. The prisoner has clearly imitated someone else's handwriting.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write that, and they can't prove that I did. My name's not signed at the end.
There is no name signed at the end.
It's true. This does make matters worse for you now, does it? There is no name signed at the bottom.
Practically proves that you're guilty.
It proves nothing of the sort. You don't even know what it says.
Well, yes, although that... Harold, read the scroll.
Oh, it isn't a letter at all. It's a set of verses.
She's disguised her handwriting! Right, it's a secret code.
It isn't mine. I couldn't write like that if I tried.
Oh, don't you try to pull the wool over our eyes. You've clearly written this in such a way so that no one but yourself could read it in the first place. Very well, have it your way. Continue through the passage till you've reached the end.
I can't read it.
My goodness, can anyone else read this grimy scroll clearly written by the prisoner? No, then it's plain to see that she wrote it so that no one else could on purpose. This thing is terrible.
You don't know whether it's terrible till you read it. Besides, nobody knows that the knave wrote it.
Will you read it yourself then? If she didn't write it, either she wrote it or somebody else can read it.
Isn't that true?
Sounds true, but there's something wrong about it.
Read it yourself then!
My goodness, silence that dormouse, cut off her whiskers and remove her from the court!
Seems to me I've seen writing like this somewhere before. If I could just remember where I was and what I was doing. Oh yes, I'm standing in front of the looking glass, combing my hair. It's looking glass writing. All you have to do is turn it around. The title is Jabberwocky.
Your Majesty, if she's so sure of that, let her read it. Let her read it without a stop.
I see. Let's see. What should we do? Read it without a stop within a certain amount of time. An excellent idea. How
0.
much time do you think?
0.
Well, let's see. 52. I think a number that we can all agree on here is clearly 182.
Yeah.
Go on. Read it until the end, until you stop.
Fill it in the slimy caves, devour and gibble in the waves. On Wednesday were the coral groves, and all rocks out brave. Beware the Jabberwocky, my son, the jaws, the bite, the claws, the catch. Beware the tail to bird and shun, the famous Peter's catch. He took his purple sword in hand, while climbed the mast and from the sun. So rested he by the side of his face, the sword quiet on top. And as an aftershock he saw the Jabberwocky, with eyes flamed, dripping through the tones you would, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, he threw and threw the warble with his figure stack. He left dead, and with his head he winked a loving back. And half the flame the Jabberwocky coming by arms, so he was joy of God to say, to little and chortled in his joy.
182!